before, because it's a small group, okay, so we have hardly like 4 and 4, 8 people, okay, pretty much here. Okay, so just quick introduction before we proceed on the thing so that we know what you guys are working on, which domain that you're looking in the front end track. Okay, then we'll go to actual session, okay, what is the plan for today, and then the topics we'll go it. Okay, so myself, Vinu Kumar, okay, I am leading the front end track, okay, today, and I am the lead of the Sunbird ED building block. Okay, so yeah, let's go with our team first.
So myself, Sharat Prasad, I was one of the initial members of Sunbird team. Have led this team for almost 4 years. Have done almost more than 50 or 60 Diksha production releases. I think contributed to more than 40 repositories in Sunbird. Primarily have driven with the front-end track. Occasionally have contributed to the data and a couple of other tracks as well. So some of the APIs and some of that knowledge definitely I will take on.
Myself Rajesh, so as part of initial stage of consumption and contributed more into the consumption, that is what we are looking at, and contributed a couple of packages which as an Indian packages which is like we have externalized and decoupled in the ADC. So we'll be talking about upcoming sessions.
Hi, I'm Heman. I have joined Diksha as a project manager since 1st of August. So my understanding of Diksha is very limited right now. I'm trying to just understand whatever is living because
Okay.
Hi, myself Maya. I have joined Diksha as a product manager. I'm working since Feb.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Bhaskar Sakai. So I mostly work in front end and back end as well. So in front end, I mostly work with Angular technology.
Angular, okay.
I'm Manish Krishnaya. I joined recently
Simran.
and I have got some experience with Sunbird ED and USA and
Okay.
I'm also Angular and Java.
Okay.
My name is Pushpam and I'm leading the front-end team here in Diksha, and currently I'm working on Sunbird and other building blocks also, and also in back-end Node.js.
Okay.
My name is Simran and I have been working for mobile technology in Node, and here I am representing the Android part and the iOS part as well. So I am actually working on it.
Okay. Mobile. Okay.
Hi, I'm Vajanti and I'm working as a front end. So basically I'm working on this Diksha doc, tenant and portal ED. So understanding of portal ED structure and all. So still like we have mainly worked this doc and tenant which is related to like our Diksha gov.in. That's that part.
Okay.
Vertical creation and all. So I'm Manusha, so as you know.
Yeah.
So I am working as a business analyst for this Diksha project.
Yeah. Sohanji. Yeah.
I'm Sohan.
Yeah, we know. Everybody knows. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. I will just give a brief introduction today. What we are going to cover today, at least. Okay. So next days and all we'll do day by day things. Okay. Today, the first topic today is a front-end architect. How the ED been, what is the ED architecture, and what are things, how it's been connected to other backend systems and all. We'll see that architecture, and then that is a 1 hour session. Okay. We'll try to wrap up by before for 45 minutes. We'll see how much it is. Okay. And then the day one. Okay. We are going to cover the front-end portal UI module. Okay. In the architecture diagram, I will show you what are the modules that we have. One of the module there, okay, with the portal UI, okay, that we'll cover today. And next day onward, like we'll go to front end, what are other libraries, how the portal backend works and all. There's a tomorrow sessions. Today and tomorrow, we are planning to cover complete portal, including front end UI today and the front end portal backend tomorrow, including all the front end libraries that we are built, how it's been integrated. That's something planned for today and tomorrow. That's a 2 days agenda. Okay. Yeah. So let's go to the architecture view. Okay. I think before we go to architecture, okay, you guys already know building blocks and all. Okay. So we are talking about so many building blocks. Sunbird is not a one single piece of project which is everything is covered in this thing, right? Okay. So we have a concept of building block. Initially, it was as a single team we worked. Later, we split into building blocks so that it's very easy to handle. instead of everybody syncing on entire release together, we split into individuals as a small building blocks, so that it's very easy to handle. That team can handle only its own release plans and all. That's the intention, okay, of building blocks coming in, and so that the contract based, okay, as I always say, decouple and everything. That's the main. So the main principles of Sunbird ED is decouple, generalization, scalable. Okay, these are the basic principles. That's one of the principles that we use to make a building blocks. Okay, this is a Pramod. The major point always Pramod talks many times. When you see the building blocks, the car. Okay, if you think of the car manufacturer company, the car parts come from different companies. Okay, it's not like the same company build all the car parts, but a contract is given by that company. Okay, I want the part should fit within this frame, whatever it is, right? That's a contract between the car manufacturer and the actual other spare parts guy. So if the contract is proper, then it will fit. There is no problem at all. It is 100% guaranteed it will fit. If the contract is not guaranteed, then the problem comes. Okay, that's how all this building blocks structure came in, and then the APIs. Okay, the front end is a one building block. Okay, Sunbird ED. All the front end related applications should come under this building block, Sunbird ED. And other building blocks are the back end. Most of it on back end, and there are some building blocks having UI spaces as well, and they will be driving their own. It's a contract based. Okay, like it's not like I had a request here, and you have to also do. You have to also do. No, there's no chain. Break the chains. That's what we create decouple. Now most of the projects will work as a chain. Any request comes, you guys do, and that guy has to do, that guy has to do parallelly. Everybody has to do same sequence. But here we will not do that. The first API, they let them do. They have give the contract to us. Then the front end development will start. Until that time, front end will not start. Okay, so that's how the contract. And of course, involvement will be there. Front end should know what is happening, what is the design that the guy is taking. That's the only thing we will be worried about it. And that has to be shared. What is the design and everything, contract should be shared with the front end, means ED team. Okay, that's pretty much design principles of thermal building blocks. Okay, so I don't want to go to each and every building blocks and all, because you already seen the Matthew slide, what each building blocks does and everything. Like pretty much 16 building blocks are here listed down in this one. Out of 16, on Diksha, definitely you can see 8 to 10. 8 to 10 building blocks being used by Diksha. Okay, and other building blocks are not for Diksha, but currently there is no use cases in Diksha to use it. That's the only reason.
At least 6 of them are pretty core.
Yeah.
So the Sunbird ED, Sunbird CoKreat, knowledge, learn, data. So basically the telemetry, observe. These are the core building blocks. There are other building blocks, but they are not really matured enough, or the use cases are not leveraged.
Use cases are not there in Diksha. Okay, of course, those are matured, okay, but there are no use cases in Diksha as such. Because if you see Anuvad, the language translations and everything, basically like if you create a content in one language, okay, that can be transferred into any other language. That's what Anuvad, especially there is a lot of, especially document transformation, they are doing it. But there is no use case in Diksha as such, okay, how to leverage Anuvad into Diksha. That's why this building block is not used. Okay, so but if you see the CoKreat, there is only Diksha is the one who is using this building block today. CoKreat, if you see, like that's a crowdsourcing. Okay, like instead of you doing everything as a creator, how can you engage with a lot of other community members to create a contents? Okay, so that's what the CoKreat will call a sourcing portal. Okay, we'll go through all these details later.
Basically, the crowdsourcing of the content. So for a system like Diksha, it is very difficult that there is a specific set of people who are going to source this content, right? We cannot have just 5 dedicated people who can create the content for the entire country education system. So
Vidyadan, you want to
Vidyadan is actually what is CoKreat, wherein the concept of the sourcing, asset sourcing, is being crowdsourced. It is done on the invite-only basis, so that the content creators would come in, would really relevantly tag it, the digital assets, and it is available for the larger consumption.
Okay, so the basically structure will be created in the ED. Okay, the textbook or with the content which requires a code sourcing capability. Like
but all of
for
you
what?
Familiar with Vidyadan, right?
How many of you know Vidyadan? Okay. So Vidyadan having a programs within it. Okay, usually they will drive the programs for the contributions purpose. With the program, with some particular NGO will be driving that program to get a contributions from many people. That's how the Vidyadan works, okay, today. It's a state driven, each state driving that. State-wise they are driving the programs, okay, yeah. They are creating textbook courses, okay. States are taking that initiative and then driving it. Well, their teachers or their NGOs and all to get that thing ready.
So even Vidyadan, when they run programs, they have time-bound programs. Each state will say today, UP will drive a program for creating content. They also have time-specific programs over there. So, they are expected, all the teachers are supposed to come and create 200 pieces of content in 3 days or things like that. They also drive very targeted programs.
Yes.
And that's using Vidyadan.
Yeah. So, and then next one is ED. ED is like the major adoption building block. Okay, so that's what we are today here. Like ED is a one like which any adopter want to take it up, we'll suggest take a ED. It will come with package with a lot of other building blocks. Because ED requires knowledge for content creation, ED requires learn for the user management, ED requires co-create for the crowdsourcing, ED requires QML, inquiry and all for the question creation. There are multiple building blocks required ED to get ready. ED is having all the solutions which any adopter can take it as is, ED, and they can deploy, and they can put whatever solution they want to drive. All the building blocks are there. Means content creation possible, user management possible, assessment possible using inquiry, which is integrated into ED. You build a solution. Diksha is one of the solutions which is learning, like for kids, students learning. Similarly, if you want to build some other system, okay, you take an ED, you build a solution, what kind of solution you want to do the changes to the ED, and you drive that solution.
Can be like a white label thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. ED is the adoption application, like adopter has to take an ED, so it will come with a package of all the building blocks together to you.
So just to answer that specific query that you had, actually Sunbird ED has been adapted other than Diksha as well. So UPSMF, one of the initiatives that's called as Mission Niramaya, they have taken Sunbird ED as is, and their use case is capacity building for training the medical staff for UP government. So what they have done is they have taken their Sunbird ED as is, they have modified the configurations, and they have used the same product for their own. I mean, the entire cost of reinventing the cycle of writing a full-fledged product is actually minimized. It's just a question of configurability. No more, rewriting the entire product end to end.
So as you said that there are certain building blocks for it, and Diksha is used for 7 or 8. So that means we have a chance to use other building blocks also. I mean, we can.
See, ED is adopted by Diksha now, right? Okay. Now, when you take Diksha, along with the ED, lot of other building blocks also part of the ED today. That's how the Diksha is leveraging all other building blocks. Now, there is some use cases where they don't need ED. They need only the Sunbird knowledge. Okay. One of the example of content management. They don't want to use a ED because they don't want to ED UI, lot of what are solutions, what is there today. Question creation, content creation, and review process and everything, right? They don't want all these things. They want to build their own portal. Then they don't need to take an ED because that's a solution what they want to build, only content creation. They won't do anything at all.
So as a developer point of view, are they adaptable to use in the Diksha if we want to know?
Don't think like Diksha is one of the adapter, as I tell you. ED adopted by Diksha. Okay, not ED is not Diksha, is not same. Okay, you have to be clear.
We can take it in different way. Can you go to that website, our diksha.gov.in?
Yeah.
So typically, state what kind of request they tell. If you go to home page.
Okay.
So you want to customize some of the UI elements on the homepage.
Whatever they give, right? So adding some of the customization. Okay. So
Okay, I think it's not covered.
Probably I will cover that specific topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as part of ED, he will cover more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
See,
That
now
will be part of as soon as I land this landing page, the type of request which state asks, to change some logo.
Correct.
So in that case, it is part of ED.
yes, it's a part of
It
ED.
is part
Yeah.
of ED. Yes.
Because portal is nothing but a ED. Okay,
See,
the portal
80%
application.
of your requests that comes from the state system would be actually on the UI.
UI.
Really not
UI
on the
only.
infra or any of the back-end components.
Yeah, that is,
These backend components are very tried and tested for years. But majority of your challenges would come in on how do you make it configurable so that you can introduce a new section. If I want recently published courses by NCERT, if that is the section that we want to bring in, how do I configure that?
Correct.
So those are the things which I will cover.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was giving example of solutions, right? Okay, because if you see Diksha point of view, the digital textbook courses, especially for Diksha, because textbooks are nothing but a student's point of view. Courses, of course, is the teachers' courses and students' courses, multiple types of courses, right? Assume that Diksha is one of the adopter of it, and I want to adopt it only for the courses. I don't have a textbook use case at all. Okay, I don't have a textbook. I am the one of the I want to drive on my own project, which is only online trainings. Okay, like Udemy and all. Can I use a ED for that use case? Instead of me writing the code, everything from scratch, I can use a ED, which comes by default with other capabilities of content review, content process, content management, and again rating system and everything is part of that. So if I take an ED, I will build my solution. What is my solution? Online courses solution. I'll take out all these things. I'll put only the course white labeling again, saying that I'll change this UI as per my need, as per my logo and everything. I will customize it, and I will start using the ED for my use case as an adapter. Okay, you have to think like Diksha is one adapter, and I am a new adapter who is using ED, but customized completely as per my use case.
So
Okay, like that.
Not say ed then. Maybe ed represent education or something.
No, okay. ED terminology is a Sunbird for education. Okay, it doesn't mean that you can. Education is like training courses, right? Courses is the education, educating to somebody else. Like farming also we are planning to use, right? It's educating a farmers. Courses and all is for education purpose, right? Okay, it's not like only students is not educated. Even farmers also getting educated. Medical staff also getting educated.
Actually, my question is, you have named it just for the naming convention. I'm asking.
Yeah.
You have named it Sunbird.
Sunbird for education.
So you said that I'm using this project for white label for trading. That is not education.
Yeah. No, trading. Why are you saying trading is not education? You are training for others.
So logically, what you are saying is, yeah, I think your point is actually
Right,
valid in
right.
terms of English sense.
Yeah.
The way how it has been thought through is any learning use cases, which is across multiple domains, whether it can be healthcare capacity building, or whether it can be a K-12 based, education system, which Diksha deals with. So what is very different is the content distribution remains the same. However, it's your taxonomy that gets differed. In education, you will say, I am a CBSE English medium class 10 student, CBSE English medium class 10 teacher. That's your taxonomy, correct? That's how you identify the content. But if you go into some other capacity building, probably an agricultural farmer who is looking at the horticulture as his primary subject, and again his subcategory could be plants,
Fertilizers,
or
plants, climate.
and then
Okay.
you will
all
just
those
again
things.
redistribute the same content.
The taxonomy is getting
So
changed.
the taxonomy
Okay.
gets changed, your entire content creation, review, the content consumption, everything remains the same. The story remains the same, it's just that the taxonomy intelligently gets modified.
Yeah.
So here the code again. Okay. This code, ED code, is not specific to only for students. It's all configurable. That's what all the adapters comes into picture, where they can configure what they need. Based on the configuration, they should be able to run the application as per their need, instead of writing the code. Okay, that's what we call as generalization or configurable and all. It's a generalized. It's not only students only it will work. It will not work for anybody else.
So this was the mantra with which the most of the front end code was written through. First one is generalize and externalize. Generalize means don't write it for your own project. Make and externalize. Don't write it within your project. If you write the code outside of your project, then there is no way out for any of the developer that he has to write a very clean code. So make it externalized so that it can be leveraged by not only one product called as Sunbird ED, but by any other system. So which we will showcase to you probably.
So we'll come to all the principles Matthew has touched up: the generalization, configurable, extendable. Okay, the same concepts. Okay, ED is being used. Okay, don't consider ED is built for only for Diksha. Okay, that's whatever changes you do. Also, it should not only for Diksha. Okay, how can you make that is also configurable? Anybody can configure to make that use case to work. Okay, yeah. So we'll go to more details as part of the UI. Okay, what is the configurability and all. Okay, so let's come to architecture of ED. And these are there are different architecture views. Okay, there's like architecture can showcase in the code flow level architecture and the system level architecture, deployment level architectures and all, right. Here we are talking system view architecture, means how the ED is leveraging other building blocks. This architecture diagram is telling only that. Okay, we talk about so many building blocks, right, just now. If you see ED here, ED apps, okay, we call as a learning apps. Okay, ED is owning up all the learning apps. Like learning apps in the sense, you can see portal, where people can consume the content, can go and create their content. Client-facing applications, portal, mobile app, okay, and desktop app, and there's a VDN, CoKreat, one of the things. Okay, all these things comes as a learning apps, what we call. Okay, you can build a number of each state are building again their own apps, right? Okay, it's not like they are using the same mobile app. Each state also building their own apps by leveraging the same APIs in the backend. Okay, that's what we call as general section as learning apps on the top. ED is just owning up that section. Now internally what it's leveraging? Knowledge. As Matthew told, knowledge is meant for content management. Okay, keep in simple terminology, Sunbird knowledge is nothing but a content management. All the contents what you create will go and sits in the knowledge bucket, whether it's a content or collection. Like we call it different names. In the Diksha use case, we call as a textbook and courses and different content, e-textbooks and everything for the contents. Okay, there are different naming conventions Diksha has given. Okay, Diksha has given that names, but somebody else can give some other names. Okay, that's not a name also configurable. What names you want to show? That's the content management is handled by knowledge. Inquiry, again question sets. Okay, all the questions, assessments, survey, feedback.
Only for question, because in content what we storing in the contents and retrieving also will be there, modifying the whatever contents we put, right? That will be through this building block knowledge.
Knowledge, yes. Content is knowledge.
Suppose inquiry and is completely different. It's not for getting some of the contents of what we have uploaded and
no, inquiry is not for the one of the content type called assessment. You can call
for assessment.
Assessment purpose.
For
okay.
Assessment, that
inquiry being used for assessment, which leveraging a QML specification especially. Okay, all the assessment what you create, which follow QML.
QML.
Yeah. QML.
Fine.
There are a couple of object types. So content, collection, question set, and event set. There are a couple of other extensions as well. So logically, content and collection would sit in knowledge. The life cycle of a content and a collection would sit in knowledge. Anything with respect to question and a question set would sit in inquiry.
Inquiry. Okay.
What happens with the processing of it? Well, if a person consumes a content, where does it go and sit in? As the learn. User progress, the user credentialing.
Yeah.
In learn.
Yeah.
So someone was asking this question on the master data.
Master data.
Right? The master data is actually the knowledge and the inquiry.
Knowledge and the
contents especially. Content master data
learn also
is
has
that.
the master data of all the users.
Users master data will go to learn. Okay. Now, learn is nothing but a user management. You consider learn is nothing but a user management point of view.
So as a user, suppose I want to upload some contents, I can upload the content. As a teacher, if I want to upload the
Using learn, using knowledge.
Using knowledge, I will upload the contents.
Okay. Yes.
And through inquiry, suppose I want to
Create a questions. Through
can.
inquiry. Yes.
So creating question paper is the
Also the inquiry. Yeah.
Just to logically clarify it, right? All the UI tools exist in Sunbird ED itself. When we say
fine.
the Sunbird knowledge and inquiry, these are the set of microservices which will enable us to do these work.
We will go to details.
Ultimately,
Correct.
ultimately how the building block you guys would have created, there might be APIs which I have for uploading content. I have to use one API.
Correct.
For downloading content.
Not that way. See now.
Content read or content create will be there, which will be an API from knowledge. Now that
Typically
API is exposed by knowledge, and we will be using, front end will be using that particular API to push the data.
Okay.
So you would have seen this document content management. If you guys, because that's how when I started.
Correct.
So document content management, documentum, which we were using.
Correct.
Yeah. So in that we have different methods or which we were using for uploading content or in life cycle management we have to workflow So that particular process, similar to that, this is the one where we are using APIs.
Yes. Don't consider APIs only, because building block concepts is not only for microservices. Like today, knowledge, if you want to create a content, you need editors. And how you consume the content, you need some players to play that content. All these editors and players also sits in the knowledge, which is content related items. Even it's a front end, editor and players are front end applications. But still, knowledge is owning up because they are the one who is a content managing system. Now they should know how the player should work and how to create those content and all. They are the one who is owning up that.
So this
as a ed,
is part of this one, knowledge.
Knowledge, content related, editors, players and all the APIs. Okay.
Editor, players
And APIs are by knowledge. Similarly, enquiry also having the editor.
What is that boundary box? Why interesting on
Just contains, okay. This some of the front end, like as I told you, Sunbird apps, right? The title is Sunbird apps. Knowledge and enquiry is a UI, front end facing some UIs are there. Editors and players also front end, end user is seeing it. That's why we put up that bucket, which is Ed is leveraging other building blocks ka UI applications. It's not, Ed is built. Ed has not built those things. We are just leveraging, they build applications, we are just integrate those applications in the Ed. That's what that box is saying. Enquiry, questions creation and consumption, Ed is not built. They build that players, we are just leveraging those players to use it. Okay. So building block is not just APIs, end to end, okay, around that whatever things should work, that building block is owning up. That's how the building block constraint. Okay. So learn, yeah.
So in the Sunbird inquiry, you keep the questions, all the questions are the questions and assessments, right?
Correct.
So let's say player takes the assessment, how's this coding done?
That will go to the, when you go to the UI, that time we will show the code, okay. Not now, okay. Very high level you understand the concepts, how architecture being built.
In a bit more detailing,
Yeah.
wherein you'll get to see on how are these actually decoupled, how is it, we are saying it is part of some other
building block.
All those
How are we
things.
leveraging that in our system? This will come in the next part.
See, always
And along with the functional flow, we'll talk.
keep your mind as a generalized. These components are not only for Ed also. What they build, editors and players, is not only for Ed.
Yeah.
Any other application can use these players and editors. They can build their own portal without Ed also. Content creation, consumption can happen in the new portal without Ed being used. Okay, that's what the decoupling, what I will say, decoupled, generalized, always a concept. Always keep those minds, okay. Decouple, generalized and configurable. Even the players and everything is configurable, okay. It's not like something, it's only work for Ed, okay, it's all configurable level. That will go to code level. So learn, as I explained to you, learn is nothing but a user management system. All the users, information, whether a user login is student, teacher, or different personas that Diksha is owning up today. If you go to some other portals, there is a doctors and nurses and some other naming conventions. Okay, like that's how the user learn building block is owning up that information related to the user. Okay, the user login is that is a building block which is having that services for the login purpose, token generation and everything, key clock and everything. That's what Matthew showed. Organizations in the Diksha use case, we have something called tenants and all, right? That's a building block which is owning up tenants and user informations and all. Okay.
User and odd service what it has
Huh.
in the learn.
Yes. User in nothing but user information or nothing but organizations or tenants in the Diksha use case. Okay.
Like for state, it will be one tenant.
One tenant. Each state is a one tenant. Yeah.
In Diksha's terminology, each tenant is nothing but
Each state.
Each state.
So organizations we call
So
that
you
thing.
is considered
Each state will become an organization. That is called as org. In the
Okay.
short form, organization we call it as org. So each tenant becomes an organization. TN or Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh, Haryana can become one organization in your Diksha environment.
Yeah.
So for the state, then they are creating the courses and everything.
For every
Class.
No,
courses
course-
For that particular.
Course is still a content. It's a knowledge. It will go to knowledge, not the learn. Okay. Knowledge only.
No. Organization is the tenant.
Tenant state
To create
is in
whatever
Diksha.
content for
State is an
will
organization.
go to knowledge.
Okay. Yeah.
NCRT is an organization.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
NCRT is an also-
Create of the org, any APIs related to organization, searching, update and everything is that service will be giving you. Okay, learn.
That course creation is actually bounded for the organization only. I mean, we have to select a org first.
Correct.
Is it not? We don't have a way to create a course for the whole.
Okay, to answer that question, so who can create a course? You would have an idea, right? Who can create a course? Let's say you, as a logged in person, you will be logged in using an organization. You are associated to an organization. A user is associated to an organization. When you log in, whatever content is created will automatically associate to that particular organization.
So I can give a relevant example on what she's suggesting. NCRT, in the case of Diksha, they have an organization. However, they don't have a board.
Yes.
So what they say is, whenever they publish a textbook, they say, this can be utilized by multiple state boards. This is one of the primary use cases that we say. So what we do is, basically the users would have got onboarded as part of NCRT organization, would go ahead and create a content. There is a way to conveniently tag that content, saying this can be utilized by certain boards, mediums and grades. You can go and tag them so that relevant discovery can happen for the other users.
So these can be used by other organizations.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the idea.
Basically, NCRT, you can say it's a global organization.
It is
one
not
of the
a global, but they have an organization.
Which can, CBSE can be another organization which can use the content of
Okay.
So
You guys again.
for that तो उसके लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा वो हमें टैगिंग करना पड़ेगा कोड में कहीं टैग कर दें
So that is done
Marker is not
by
there.
wherein you can provide what is the board that it is relevant for.
box. Check the box.
So you will get to see some of those.
So the thing is, if you want to break it, we call it as an framework and targeted framework. You can target it to some other frameworks also.
So basically, you can say I am the owner. NCRT is the owner. But I can say this is relevant for Tamil Nadu board, class 10 English medium. I can also say that it's for one more board, that's for CBSE, class 8 and Kannada medium. So all such combinations can be there.
Okay.
Yes.
See this.
And
Okay.
This is decided by the owner.
Learn is owning up user. When the user logs in, he always tag to some organization today. Always. Okay. There is a guest user who would not tag to any organization. Okay. Custodian org. Okay. Today we made that thing as a general org so that guest users also part of the custodian org. Okay. That's just a tagging purpose because system is designed that way. That's why we also tagged a general guest users also to a custodian org. Okay. Org is a primary. Under that org, there are many users may come into that. These users can come and create a content and collections. So whatever this user creates under this which org, only those users can see that contents. Always the mapping. So now there is a mapping between these two, knowledge and learn. Is what? What is a common thing? Channel or tenant. So that whatever content you create here, that has to be mapped with the channel also, right? So that somebody can easily identify for my org. Org is nothing but again internally called as a channel. Okay, that's the terminology being used. For this channel, some content is being created. When any user log in, for that org, for that channel, what are contents created, only show those contents. That's how you are mapping today. As soon as some user logs in, student or teacher, based on the user, it knows which organization. For that organization, whatever channel is there, for that channel, whatever contents created, only show those contents. But the mapping is a channel. Knowledge is also having a channel ID references at the time of content creations. That's the only thing here.
Vinu, one small housekeeping announcement for you.
Yeah.
If anybody is asking any question or anything like that, please repeat it. Otherwise, it's not getting captured in the recording.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
Sure.
even if
Yeah.
Sharad or Rajiv, anybody is giving an answer, you'll have to probably summarize it and say it again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Today you have to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So is that clear? So learn building block. What is the learn is owning up user and org. Why we call as user and org. So next one. So now there are some of the things with the learn. Okay. What you should understand only this is a key thing for you guys, especially batch surveys. Because today knowledge is only owning the collection and content. It doesn't know what is meant by batch. Like collection nothing but a courses. Think of Diksha terminology. The Diksha is given the names as courses and textbooks are called as a collection types. Now who is for the courses there is a batch required, right? To drive the courses. But knowledge is owning up, not owning up the batch things. Today, learn is owning up that batch because user is joining that batch to learn something. If you see the building blocks, why a batch went to learn? User is join the batch to learn something. That's why learn, okay, now where it will fit now? Whether it fit in the content or learn, the batch. Batch comes under learn. That's why the batch service, entire batch related information being maintained by learn building block. Okay, again the mapping, the batch ID, for this batch ID, what are content present is mapped here in this table, not the other way. That will go to the code level of details, okay, then we will get to understand of where the data goes and where and all. This is not front end team, no need to worry about all those things, these are back end stuffs, but you should understand who is doing what. That's the key thing for you guys to know which building block is responsible, so that you can go and ask the right people for any changes comes under that, to whom you have to tell, which building block you have to tell. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sure. So again, assessment, again same thing. Assessment here came in as a backend service. This entire section is talking about backend services, inquiry related backend services, question set related services. The observe, again Matthew has explained a lot of about telemetry, correct? Okay, telemetry, the pipeline, whatever the actions user is doing it, everything will go in the as a telemetry events. The front end is generating telemetry event for each and every user interactions. Which page he is going it, whether he started a content or not, he ended a content or not. We are always generating the events. Head is generating, means portal or mobile app is generating events. All these things go to observe. Observe, we are having a lot of deduplications and everything, like which is they will break that event into different tables for different reports point of view and all. How many users consume the batch, how many new users join the batch and everything is something that reports will generate based on that. Okay. And the knowledge management, there's just say APIs, okay, what are the services they exposed. Some of the things are content, we called about content collection. Taxonomy is a key thing. Don't get confused taxonomy with the organizations. Okay. Taxonomy, what we call as a content, what content you create, you have to tag that content to something so that it is very easy for discovery. Today, Diksha is using a BMGS, especially board, medium, subject and all. There's a tag, that's what we call as taxonomy. Content is different, content metadata properties are different, taxonomy are different. You have to be very clear about that. Don't get confused. And user, organization level, tenant and all, that's a different again. Don't get confused these three. Organization is specific to tenant level. Content metadata is ID, description, who, when it's created, okay, when it's been updated, who created and all, that's a metadata. Taxonomy is for a discovery point of view. You want to tag a content to something, okay, which is something nothing but today education domain, board, BMGS what we call. So later some other guys can define some other framework, which is in the medical domain if you go, okay, they can conduct as a nursing, not nursing, okay, they may be surgical and all this. They can create different taxonomy for the medical thing, so they can tag the contents to that taxonomy. Okay, there won't be BMGS, okay, in that case, right? So that's what we call the taxonomy. Okay, that's what the taxonomy service. And media service is nothing but all your media files, especially images, audios, and videos. That can be also and content. Okay, images are not contents today. Okay, that will come as a media service being exposed how to upload images. Audios and videos especially, those are some of the things you are using audios in many places to play. Okay, that's also an asset what we call. These are services which is expose those APIs. They also having multiple microservices within the knowledge. Each microservice is doing individual things. Okay, taxonomy is nothing but as I told you, framework related things. Media service is only for the media files to upload. Image, image, audio, and video. Okay, and the font files. Okay, you don't have font file use cases. Okay, yeah, only that is what media services expose those APIs. HYP is again content service. Okay, this is not a media service. It comes under content. It will consider as a content only.
So anything that would require your streaming service to work, and not really downloaded as a implicit file, and where you will be leveraging the media services, the streaming is enabled. Such things would go.
They break their microservice into smaller microservices, easy to separate, easy to handle it. Okay, yeah. So, and Sunbird CoKreat is the only one key thing which is decoupled from the ED today. Okay, of course, it's called as a client-facing application, but it's not part of ED today. Okay, it is a separate front building block, which has its own front-end application similar to ED. Okay, to drive the programs. CoKreat is always drives the programs. Within a program, somebody can go and attach some resource, what we call as a collections, can be attached within a program, and then any contributor can come and contribute to that. Okay, that's a complete CoKreat portal which is driving. We'll go deep dive.
It is logically a workspace in Sunbird ED, plus a program being a narrative. That program narrative does not exist in Sunbird ED. How government runs every program is that they'll call Nishta 4.0 as a program. Under that, they expect all the content to get created, and users have that dedicated discoverability and all. And the content creators are also invited by the invitation only. It's a across the country initiative, right?
Yeah.
That gets specifically facilitated in the Sunbird CoKreat.
See the naming convention, CoKreat.
Exactly.
It's not one guy creating. Sunbird ED allows only one guy creating. Okay, CoKreat allows to multiple people collaborate together to create one content,
So
any one
call
content.
it as a dedicated front end, which is allowed to source the assets,
Yeah.
source the digital content.
Okay, so that's a separate building block altogether. It's not part of ED of today, but as an adapter we can take CoKreat also coming as a part of service. Like when you take the release of ED, all this in package together. That's why we call still CoKreat also as part of the ED. It's coming to you or adapters. Okay, so this is a
Building block perspective, it is knowledge.
no. It's a CoKreat a separate building block altogether. Separate building block altogether. Okay, if you see here, like as I just showed you.
So what all things are
Okay, the CoKreat is a separate building block all altogether. It has its own existence. Okay, especially to drive the programs. CoKreat meant for to drive the programs. You can consider things like that. To drive some programs by individual states, the CoKreat can be used. Not the ED. ED doesn't have a program logic at all.
Okay, so for Nishta, how exactly? Nishta will be one of the program. We need to run the program. For that, we want to create a
Contents and all. Contents and all.
we do.
Yeah, correct.
So which ultimately technology perspective, it is using the knowledge.
Okay.
Right?
Correct. Yes, that's right. CoKreat and ED. Okay.
Yeah.
So today ED is leveraging knowledge to do this. Correct. Now, what you told an example of, as I told you, CoKreat is owning a program. Program name, what you are saying is Nishta. Nishta is a program, okay, which is handled in CoKreat to create a courses, especially
Create courses.
okay, by co-creating, because ED is having only one user creation. One user cannot create that many courses very fast because they want that courses to be ready faster. So that's why they use a program. They called the program name as a Nishta. From that program, they created some collections, means courses. All the courses what are they created here, when you publish that courses here, all those courses will come to ED also. That's how the CoKreat works. Whatever you do publishing here, that published collections will sync to ED, so that any users in the ED can consume those courses
So there is
as a
separate
Nishta.
data pipeline, which actually any creation would actually trigger the pipeline, and the Kafka events are being passed across the CoKreat and ED, so that the content gets replicated. The content model gets replicated into the Cassandra and Neo4j, and even Redis as well on the ED side.
Okay.
So which can be accessed by any of the users.
Any of the users. So it is available on both the sides.
Okay. So like that, many programs have been driven by Diksha before. Okay, not only Diksha. Okay. So because now they know which contents being created as part of Diksha. Now, what is the consumption use case of those contents? How many people are consumed and everything is some dashboards being built on the top of ED now. Okay. There is no consumption here. CoKreat doesn't have a consumption. This is only creation part. CoKreat. Well, whatever you create here, and whoever is a program admin can publish that content. As soon as you publish the content, it will go sync into ED, so that consumption can start for that. Okay, that content having an ID for the specific tagging and everything. That's how people know, okay, whether that content has been consumed or not. Okay. Yeah.
The users that will be using CoKreat, again, that will be registered in Learn, right?
Users, no, it's the same user. Same user. Okay, because learn is still the same. As I told you, learn. Both ED and CoKreat is using the same learn infra.
So if they're outside like contributors,
Huh.
they will not belong to a work, right?
Outside contributor,
Like someone contributing CoKreat,
CoKreat. Huh?
they won't be belonging to a particular organization, right? If some,
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that time, that particular org.
As a custodian organ, here it's a custodian. Because that user is not having any channel associated and all, he'll always because channel association is not there. So he's a custodian org user. When it comes to ED he can't create anything. Only in the CoKreat only he can create. Because ED, he's as a guest user, he is coming. We can only consume it. He don't have any rights to create in the ED.
One question I have.
Yeah.
So like when you said that in CoKreat the content after it gets published finally, after all the stages of review, it gets like
Publish.
It gets published on the ED portal so that people can consume.
Consume it.
So like when you said that replication is happening, so is it like literally a replication behind the scenes?
Yes.
It is literally
Yes.
a data pipeline.
Data pipeline which will copy the content from here to here.
So CoKreat is meant for all the publishing activities, right? So once the publish is done, it should be available for the larger crowd for the consumption.
Right.
Which means it has to come to the ED. So there is a data pipeline wherein this Kafka topics are being raised, and the content metadata actually comes in, gets stored in Cassandra Neo4j of ED.
Of ED.
It is no more there. It is there.
There in the ED?
CoKreat also, but it will come in.
Come here to ED also.
CoKreat also.
So even like if any changes go to CoKreat, they will be synced.
It will
No,
automatically get synced.
not always syncs. Only at the time of publish only it will get sync.
So publish the final stage.
Final stage only. When manually is editing it, after first publish, if somebody is keep on adding it and everything, it will not get reflect here. Because there is a separate infra altogether.
Have another cycle.
Yeah, separate infra altogether, okay, which is having its own knowledge system and all here. Okay, we will cover as part.
Independent across both them.
Yeah, we will cover as part of CoKreat building block. We will get more details about that thing. Is that clear? Building block view of ED and CoKreat. Okay, so this is pretty much the same. Okay, like I'm just putting it separate. Just now I explained all these things. Learning app, nothing but Sunbird portal, which is a portal web-based application. Mobile app, which is Android or iOS apps. Desktop app, which is offline use cases what we built, and creation portal, which is nothing but a CoKreat portal, what we call. Those are the learning apps. Okay. On the top of this, there are many states build their own apps and all. Okay. Again, this is not the only. This ED is owning up today, but many states have built their own apps again on the top of that. Okay. Many learning apps may come on the top of this thing also, but those are not part of ED. Okay. There are state-specific apps again. Okay. And front-end libraries. Okay. So all these applications, what you see, end user applications, is leveraging some of the libraries, okay, for a reusability purpose. So instead of creating the same thing, okay, making sure the code changes do at one place and reflect in all the places same, okay, to avoid the what you can. It's working in one application, but it's not working in the other application because if you write the code, duplicate the code, that's the problems. To avoid all those use cases, we built some libraries which will solve all those problems. Okay. So there are some libraries which is ED is owning up. Okay, these are pretty much ED libraries. Along with this, as I told you, there are a lot of other building block specific UI libraries also, like editors, players, and all those things also comes as part of this libraries.
This
Okay.
front-end UI customization, it is driven by SP forms, or we have any templates?
We'll go to the code level. Okay, all these things we'll explain at the code level. What is each and every library? We'll go to the code level.
So all of these things, right? How does the organization fit into what? How does this content is all? Finally, everything comes together. That is the agenda that I will carry.
Okay, that's the next 2 days. Today and tomorrow we'll see. Yeah. Not advanced. Okay. Yeah.
Because there are a lot of definitions that have been set in now, right? Ultimately, everything has to combine and work as a system. That is where the bulk of the understanding would come in, which I will try to demystify one session after the other.
So next one, okay, as I telling you here,
You have libraries, then APIs.
API layer. Okay, don't call it the APIs. Okay, API layer. Okay, which is today, if you see all these apps, what are the apps you can see here? It's a UI, right? UI is nothing but an Angular application. Now there's a back. UI is ka backend. All this API layer is nothing but a UI ka backend. Today, portal UI and portal API service, which is a proxy service, what we call. The Node.js application, what is running it. So there are portal ka Node.js application as well as CoKreat ka Node.js application. The two applications which is as a API layer today. Now that API layer is a proxy. Our front end code knows only talking to this. It will not talk to API service directly. It will always talk to this. This Node.js application will talk to your API manager. API manager, okay, Kong and all. That will talk to actual service, upstream services, which are building block. If you come with some API route, to which service it has to call. That Kong is having that logic. Okay. There are some places in the portal backend, instead of to avoid the what is called latency and all, okay, we made a service call directly. Instead of going to via again API manager, we only calling directly some of the services to avoid the API hub again. One more hub to make that service faster, request faster. Without a proxy. No, proxy is there. Proxy is nothing but our portal backend.
That proxy is calling those other building blocks.
Building blocks services directly. Okay, without calling the API manager. It depends on only few cases, not always. Okay, it depends on.
Communication between the building blocks. It can happen in what all different ways here, like.
As a front end guys, you guys no need to worry about what is happening here. Of course, you should know what is it, but how it is happening and all completely agnostic. You guys don't think of that thing.
That will be taken care in the backend session.
Backend session is happening it, but you should know there is some communication happening it. That's what I just explained you, content, all these things.
Second layer also will be taken care in the backend session.
Yes, yes. Okay. You guys should know till here, API manager. You guys as a front end lead.
So the API layer, this Sunbird portal API service, which
Yes.
is told in, which is in Node.js.
Node.js.
Will be taken care in this session.
Yes, this one. The front end team is owning up. Till API manager, till the Kong, okay, when I call that API, where it should redirect, that's the front end team is owning up. Okay.
So only thing that you don't have to worry about is the end point which will be called, let's say when I said user read. Whether it is going to learn, whether it is going to knowledge, we will understand that also. But what is the underlying API which will be called? Even that will be same. Only thing is that structure may be different, the URL may be different. That is what we are not going to touch about. So it will be the API.
What I want to understand is, like we have the back end for front end, right?
Correct.
Which is in the node.
Yes, yes.
So only through the node can I communicate with the building blocks?
Yes.
Or it is always necessary for me to go through the API gateway?
It has to be through the API gateway only.
See, there are some advantages if you go with the API gateway.
Have any communication
No.
from the
No.
node itself?
No.
That,
Every API goes through the API gateway only.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much what architecture I want to cover. Okay, like Sharath will continue the other things. Okay, before we wind up for lunch. Okay.
So in your this one,
Yeah, one second. Yeah, I have some questions. Yeah.
API gateway mein, I should be able to see all the APIs which are being consumed, right?
No. Okay. See, when as a front end guy, you.
In Grafana when I open, suppose how many hits?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
So I should be able to through API.
API manager.
it will-
API manager is
I can
putting.
see all the APIs which is being used.
Yes, correct.
Basically, there are two kinds of things. The first one is basically.
Yes. Okay. No parallel discussions. Sorry.
So
Okay.
there are two places where you can actually look into it. One is the API manager, because Kong would expect all the APIs to get loaded into it.
Okay.
So there we can have one view, and the other one is actually a Grafana. Grafana is where it generally talks about the traffic patterns, how many of them actually return back the 2xx response codes, 200, 201, and what are the 5xx, which means there is some internal service error that is coming.
So architecture perspective, in there is an API manager.
Yes, Kong
Yes.
is the API.
Kong.
Okay, Kong is the API manager where the traffic hits.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, for this kind of request.
Any front end always goes via. You can consider that. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, about Sunbird portal API services, that code is actually the service classes which have written in the front end code.
Yes.
This is what
It's
No.
a
Backend. Node.js.
It's a
Node.js
backend
application.
for front end.
backend for
It's a Node.js.
Node.js application, not a Angular application. It's a Node.js
Yeah,
application.
now you can tell about the languages also, like Node.js, using or
I will cover
Inside
that.
Sunbird. Okay. That's anyhow in the next session. We'll go to more about code level. Okay. Where is this code exist and everything in the next session.
So after
I'll
After
have it
that,
for 10 minutes. We will
Okay.
go with the agenda. What is required?
See, I honestly understand, being a part of a third hour in the session is very challenging. But I just want to set the agenda and expectations,
Yeah.
nothing more.
Share it 1 second. Okay.